The HBO documentary Leaving Neverland is a harrowing watch. 4 hours dedicated to the stories of two men who say they were molested by Michael Jackson. But if the film convinces you of Jackson's guilt once and for all, that might be because certain details are left out. A warning: this segment contains materials some viewers may find upsetting.
At the same time, the sexual relationship is growing. He's working on pushing you away from your parents, or pushing you away from everybody else.
James Safechuck was 9 when he met Michael Jackson on the set of a Pepsi commercial.
Looking for me?
Safechuck claims he was wooed by the superstar and then sexually abused. The story Wade Robson tells is chillingly similar.
If anyone ever found out that we were doing any of these sort of things, these sexual things, that he and I would go to jail for the rest of our lives. It's terrifying.
For plenty of viewers, Leaving Neverland is posthumous proof of Jackson's guilt.
Just the degree to which their stories are similar.
In every family, you have to face that some things are not the way they appear to be.
But there's also been pushback, partly because, as the film notes, Safechuck and Robson previously defended Jackson from allegations of abuse.
I know Michael very well. I know he wouldn't do anything like that.
Count 5, verdict, not guilty.
In fact, when Jackson was acquitted of molestation charges in 2005, Robson was a star witness.
He was going to go to jail for the rest of his life. I was going to my grave with that truth.
What's more, director Dan Reed has admitted he didn't seek comment from Jackson's family.
We don't make any allegations about the Jackson family. So why would I
you make an allegation that Michael Jackson's a paedophile.
Yeah, so I make allegations about Michael, but Michael's dead.
He's dead.
And I've put his rebuttals, his denials in the film.
Also defending Jackson, former child stars Macaulay Culkin and Corey Feldman, who spent time with the singer and say they weren't abused. Still, given how effectively Leaving Neverland makes its case, they might be fighting a losing battle.
I want to be able to speak the truth as loud as I had to speak the lie.
A mission statement that's made for the Me Too moment. There are a whole bunch of questions that we could kick around here, but I think that the big one I have is, if you're making a documentary like this and the villain in the documentary is not around to speak for himself or herself, how obligated are you, if at all, to provide a balanced picture, to give both sides a voice? And to what extent, conversely, can you just make a documentary which is the narratives of two people who say they were victimized, which is what we have here?
I'd say you can make a narrative of the two alleged victims here. I don't see anything wrong with that. Michael Jackson personally denied having done this, and a video of him making that denial is included in the documentary. The fact that there are people who are not Michael Jackson out there who also would have denied it strikes me as rather irrelevant. I watched the whole thing. I found it pretty harrowing. Like a lot of people, I had thought for years that the charges that he had molested children were very credible, but there's something about the accumulation of details in watching this over 4 hours that is utterly convincing. Now, granted, it is a one-sided depiction, but where are you going to get the other side at this point?
Well, one thing that occurred to me, and I don't want to talk too much here, you could say, for example, okay, Macaulay Culkin and Corey Feldman have said that they didn't experience anything like this. Put them in the movie. Callie, do you agree with Dan, or do you think that there was a need for more balance than this provided?
So I'm sort of betwixt and between on it, because the driving reason that a lot of people are protesting the two who are featured in the film is that they think they want money. And at least one of them had some, kind of creepy looking stuff going on online, perhaps, and changed the look of what was online. But I want to just say, even having said that, he could be both and. He could be looking for money for it, and he could also have been abused by Michael Jackson. The case is put very convincingly. The guy did not say he was doing a journalistic documentary. He said, I am telling the story of these two people. If he did say he was doing a journalistic documentary, I would have a huge issue with it. So I'm less freaked out about that. And he does have a lot of conversation between all the people who are around him. It is interesting that Corey Feldman and Macaulay Culkin But I wonder how much time they spent with Michael. It doesn't seem to me, that in terms of length of time spent, these two were with him a lot. And the other two were not.
Just because Macaulay Culkin and Corey Feldman say they weren't abused doesn't mean that the two in the documentary were also not abused.
That's true.
It's not that you abuse every kid around you or you abuse none of the kids around you.
And in that case, there was less of a power imbalance, right?
Exactly. And also, they were very famous. And Corey Feldman has spoken out many times about sexual harassment and abuse in Hollywood. So for him to say he wasn't abused, all right, that makes sense. But at the same time, well, Wesley Morris from the New York Times pointed out that for him this was less of a documentary and more of a bearing witness. And I think it's perfectly fine journalistically for this to not be a journalistic endeavor, for you to simply create a documentary that is bearing witness, that is telling the side of the story without everything having to find some sort of false equivalency in order to make it seem more balanced when maybe there isn't balance here.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think Macaulay Culkin and others, it would be like saying, well, I knew Ted Bundy and he didn't kill me, so therefore maybe he's not such a bad guy. Those testimonies I find to be irrelevant. I thought this was one of the most powerful documentaries that I've seen in a long time. And I don't think you need to apply journalistic standards to it, as the director had made very clear. This was, I liked Wesley's description of it, to bear witness. This was the story of two now men who were very vulnerable boys in love with Michael Jackson, who was seduced by Michael Jackson, allegedly, over a long period of time. And the psychology, I thought one of the best pieces I saw was Oprah Winfrey's panel discussion with the two men and with the director. I think it was called After Neverland.
Yes.
But she had an audience of people who had been molested and talked about what happens to you and why you could go into court, as these young men did, and swear that Michael Jackson never abused you, because that's the mindset they had.
You should know that, of course, she has been by a family member. So that's why this is very important to her. So her insight is relevant there.
And I want to point out that Wade Robson at one point says that Macaulay Culkin was one of the kids who was hanging out at the house, but he never saw him go upstairs with Michael Jackson. And to Lylah's point, I think there were certain kids who were hanging around who were already so famous with powerful families that Michael Jackson didn't want to take any chances on them.
Exactly. It's easier to hide something if you're not acting out with someone who already has the spotlight.
And he seduced the families just as well.
And that's one of the things that when you watch, and it is a really hard watch, but incredibly compelling. I found myself wanting to jump through the screen and shake these parents. Saying, what are you thinking?
Well,
they thought he was
safe. I think that's what's one of the points of the documentary that I thought was journalistic in the way that he approached it. It could have been very much a tabloid. He had enough information to just sort of cut that in an entirely different way. He very carefully laid out how they became sucked in, which I think helps everybody understand how it didn't even have to be famous kids. It could be these two ordinary kids.
I think that's why you needed 4 hours, because it makes clear, to get back to your point, the detail, it gives you this sort of exquisitely minute look at how something horrific like this can happen.
And I should also say, just from a documentary filmmaker's standpoint, it's beautifully directed.
Yes.
He has about 500 shots of Neverland itself, which becomes a character in the piece. So just from a documentary filmmaking standpoint, it's really quite well done.